Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome to another Python tutorial video. My name is Jay. So this is going to be a tutorial series using Simple Salesforce library to interact with Salesforce. So here I'm on the Simple Salesforce documentation page. If you ever need to access Salesforce API in Python, Simple Salesforce library is probably the best option right now. So this library is a lightweight REST API client built for Python. Using the Simple Salesforce library, you can update records, query records, access the Salesforce org information, as well as accessing objects metadata. I created a PowerPoint slide to give you an overview on what we'll be doing throughout this tutorial series. So right now, I only have 3 parts. For part 1 of the tutorial, we'll install virtual environment for this project, and we'll install the library. Also, I'll show you how to get in the security token. We'll learn how to connect to your Salesforce org and access the Salesforce org information as well as the metadata. And also, we'll access objects metadata as well. And that's for part 1 of the video. And for part 2 of the video, we'll learn how to query records by writing SOQL query and SOSL query. And for part 2 of the video, we'll learn how to create, update, delete, and perform upsell actions to records in Salesforce. And right now, what I'm thinking is, once we finish the series, and I'll show you some use cases that you can do using the Simple Salesforce library. Now let's start with part 1 of the video. So here on our agenda, the first thing we want to do is we want to create a virtual environment for this project. So this one's optional. If you don't want to, you can use your primary environment. So the first thing you want to do is you want to open your command prompt. So I already have a folder that store all my virtual environments. And to create a virtual environment, so you want to use the command Python and -m followed by the module name, which is vnd, followed by the virtual environment name. So I'll name my environment Simple Salesforce demo. And here, let me see. Oh, I think it should be VNV. Sorry, not VND. VENV. And followed by the virtual environment name that you want to name. And once the folder is created, so here is my Simple Salesforce demo folder, and we need to activate the environment. And to activate the environment, so we want to navigate to that folder. And to navigate to Simple Salesforce demo folder, we want to type cd followed by the folder name. So Simple Salesforce demo. Let me make the fonts bigger, right? And next we can type scripts and / activate, and that will activate the environments. And to install the library, we'll type pip install Simple Salesforce. Now we have done the first item and the second item. We need to get the security token. Now log into your Salesforce org. And under your username, you want to go to profile, my profile. And it should not my profile. It should be my settings. Sorry, my settings. Under the quick find field, type security token. And you should see the first result, which is reset my security token. So if you don't have a security token, then you want to click on reset security token. Salesforce is going to email you the security token, which is required later on when we trying to log into Salesforce. I already have my security token. So here, let me go to my virtual environment folder. I'm going to copy my login information Let me zoom in a little bit more. This login JSON file contains my username, password, and my security token. Now open your Python editor, and I'll be using Visual Studio Code. And let me close this window. So I'll create a new script, and I'll name this script, let's do getting started.py. And on the bottom left hand side, you should see the environments you are using. Right now I'm using Salesforce virtual environment. I want to switch to my Simple Salesforce demo environment, which is this one right here. I'm going to start by importing the libraries. So import JSON. I also import the pandas library. So I forgot to install the pandas module. So here I'll use the command pip install pandas. Now let's go back to our Python editor. And here let me do one more thing. So let me increase the font size. Let's change the font size to 22. Okay, I think 22 is much better. Now from the Simple Salesforce module, we want to import Salesforce class, Salesforce login function, and SF type class. Next, we want to create a couple of variables to store our login information. You can manually type the username and password and the security token. You also want to provide the domain type. So there are two different domain types, login and test. If you are using a UAT Salesforce org, then you want to use the test domain. If you are using a production or developer edition Salesforce org, then you want to use login domain type. Now let me open my PowerPoint slides. So we have finished this item, this one. Now we need to learn how to connect to Salesforce in Simple Salesforce. Right, so there are two ways you can connect to your Salesforce org. The easiest way is to basically use the Salesforce class and provide your username, password, security token, and the domain type. And if I print the Salesforce instance, so in this case will be this SF object. I'm just going to run the script. Oh, so here's saying no such. And he's saying you cannot find the should be logging. Alright, so if we print the SF Salesforce instance, you should see this data type, simple Salesforce.api.Salesforce object, and here's the instance unique ID. So that's the easiest way to connect to your Salesforce account. A drawback using this method is that when you are directly connecting to your Salesforce account, because you are creating a Salesforce instance directly, so when someone gets a hands on this instance, your username, password, and security token are exposed. So my preferred method to connecting to my Salesforce account is by using this Salesforce login function and to do a two-way authentication. So here, let me insert the Salesforce login function, and we're connecting to Salesforce the same way as using Simple Salesforce, except that. So here, let me finish writing the function. Security token and domain type. So this function is going to return a session ID. and the instance name. So we're not directly creating a Salesforce instance. So to create a Salesforce instance, and here we'll insert the Salesforce class. Instead of providing the password and the security token, we'll provide the instance URL and the session ID. And this should be ID. Now, when someone get hold of this Salesforce instance, the only information that are exposed are the instance name and the session ID. Now, if I print the Salesforce object, and here I'm able to connect to my Salesforce account just the same way, except that it's more secure. And let me hide my panel. I'm going to run my code individually, so in my terminal. So I'm going to just execute this block of code. And I'll move my terminal panel to the right. If I print all the methods and the properties of my Salesforce object, and here are all the available attributes and methods that you can access. To figure out which ones are attributes, which ones are method, so we can iterate each element. And from this list, so most of them are, I think, are properties or attributes. So here, let me do this. So here I'm going to say that for elements in this list, if the element name doesn't start with underscore, then I want to use the isInstance function and get attribute function. And I want to get the attribute value or type. So here we'll provide the object name, which is SF, and followed by the element's name. I want to check whether or not if the output is a string data type. And if it is, then we know it's going to be an attribute. So here I can print the property value. So property name and value. Now if I run this code right here, and starts with, and that's going to print the property name. So here from this list, so Apex URL, and this is the Apex URL link, and authentication sites, and the authentication type, base URL, bulk URL, and so on. So here's my session ID. And if I print my instance variable, and it's going to print my Salesforce domain name. Now let me see. So the next item on the agenda is, so we have done this. We want to extract the Salesforce org metadata. And to do that, we'll reference the Salesforce object, and we'll use the describe method. And I'll pass the output to an object called metadata.org. Now if I execute this line right here, and saying that my connection failed. So let me see. I think this should be instance, not instance URL. So let me try again. So I'll recreate my Salesforce object. And let me run this line again. Okay, so my mistake was that the parameter name should be instance, not instance URL. Now if I print the metadata org object, and here you can see that we're getting a lot of information back. And basically it's returning us as a tuple. So if we print, so if we look for the data type, oops, should be type. So I took that back. So the data type is actually a dictionary. So if I print the keys, we have 3 keys. So encoding, max batch size, and S objects. So let's print each item one by one. So encoding, max batch size, and S object. Oops. Let me print the encoding and max batch size. My encoding is UTF-8, and the batch size meaning that when you make an API call, what's the maximum number of records you can retrieve, so which is 200. And the S object will returns all the objects that are available in your Salesforce org. So if I simply just print line 24, oops, should be, let me see, objects. And we're getting a list. So if I print the data type, and we can see that it's returning us a list. So that's why we can use the pandas library and to display the information as a table. So here, oops, should be import pandas as PD. So we'll take the pandas library dot data frame, and I'll pass the output to div S objects. And I'll run line 25. Oops, let me see. Oh, okay, let me try again. Now if I print the df S objects, it's going to return the information as a table. So here, let me configure my display setting, and let me print the df S objects again. And we're getting a much better results. So let me export the information to a CSV file. So I'll take the df S objects to CSV, and I'll name this org metadata information .csv, and I'm going to set the index to false. And I'll run this line to export the table to a CSV file. Now here's all the information that is available. Most of the information won't be very useful to you, but usually for me, I use column P, which is the object name, and some of the information such as can you create the object, so based on the values in column Q, and let's see, and label. So this is the object API name, and this is the object label. So these 2 columns are the information I use mostly when I'm working on a client Salesforce org. So you can go to the information on your own. And let me close the CSV file. The next item on the agenda is how to extract a Salesforce object metadata information. I'll show you two different methods. Let's start with method number 1. So method number 1. So to access a Salesforce object metadata information, we'll take the Salesforce object. So let's say I want to extract my account's metadata information. So I'll type accounts. I'll pass the output to accounts. So if I print the accounts object data type, and it's returning as a accept type data type. The reason why I'm showing you the data type is because for method number 2, I'll show you how to use the accept type class to create an object instance, which is my preferred method. And if I print all the available attributes and method of accounts object, it will get a couple items back. And want to use the describe method to access the metadata information. So here, let me pass the output to accounts metadata, and here I'll type accounts describe. Now if I print all the available methods and attributes of accounts metadata, I think this is a dictionary. So it should be accounts metadata.keys. Oops. Oh, accounts .keys. And here are all the available information you can access. I won't be going over all of them. The only one that is important is the fields key. The fields key allows you to access all the objects, fields, metadata information. So here if I take the accounts metadata object dot fields, if I print fields, should be keys. So that gets fields. And that's going to return a list. Basically contains all the object fields information. So using that, we can take the pandas data frame, and we can present the information as a table. So here I'll name the object df accounts metadata, and I'll save the information as a CSV file. I'll name this accounts object metadata.csv, and I'll set the index to false. Now if I run these two lines, now let's open the accounts object metadata CSV file, and here's the table that contains all the fields information of my accounts object. So there are actually quite many informations. So the main one is column AG, which is the field API name. And by looking at column AG, I know from my accounts object, I have 75 fields. And in column AD, it tells you the character limits that ties to that field. And in column AC is the field label name. And this one more is very important, which is the data type. So if a field is pickless, it's going to give you all the pickless values. Let's see this one. So right here. So in column AZ is the field data type. Column AZ, and let me highlight the column. So column AZ and column AG and column AC. Sometimes column AD. Those 4 columns are the information I use mostly. Now let me show you method number 2. So method number 2 is a much better method in my opinion. Let's say I want to extract metadata of a custom object. So I have an object called project. And we'll use the SF type class. Instead of directly reference the object, we'll type the object API name. So project _ C. And we'll provide the session ID and the instance name. The beauty with using method number 2 is that you can type the object API name. So in this case, I want to create my project object instance. And after that, I can just follow the same steps as the accounts object. So here I'll name, so I'll save the output to project metadata. And it's going to be project.describe. And here I can save the output, the metadata output to a div project metadata object. And gets fields. And they'll do the same thing as well. So if I print div project metadata. Oops, what's wrong? Actually, I'm wondering if it's the name. So if I change the P from lowercase to uppercase. Okay, so the API name is case sensitive. Before I was using lowercase p, and my project object API name starts with uppercase P. So that was the issue. Now if I rerun line 39, and now if I print my div project metadata object, and that's going to return all the field information that ties to my project object. So this is everything I'm going to cover for part 1 of the video. And for part 2 of the video, I'll show you how to run SQL query and SOSL query using Simple Salesforce.